Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High. Yahweh Hashem, Yahshai, Hashem, Raka, Kodash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Akiam. And this is your brother Bawan back again with another video. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem, Yahshai, Hashem, Raka, Kodash, all praises and glories to Matthew 12, verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return into mine house, from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation. Right? And this is, of course, going into, when you become cleansed of the spirits that are on you and you first come into this truth. And this is, I'm bringing this out for a completely unrelated reason, and definitely has nothing to do with the gorilla Hebrew, the leader of the Sicarii, basically falling out, right? Or if he was ever in the truth to begin with. So it's either him falling out or him just exposing himself as the agent that he actually is. And it's basically this concept right here that is exposed, or rather I should say that is revealed in him, that when a man is cleansed, right, from an unclean spirit, so now you have 7 more spirits that are wicked than the original spirit that he had in him, which would probably explain all the various scandals that he has been involved in. But that is beside the point, because once again we are seeing a heavy sifting going on within the nation of Israel, really the house of Israel. And that's the reason why in these last days you are seeing so many scoffers and scorners, and you are seeing more and more, and even bigger and bigger bug outs and fallouts, right? After all, it's not written, and let's get these precepts right. It is necessary that offenses must come. So let's get that. And I forgot how that precept goes. I'm just going to just type it in. So this is the book of Matthew 18, verse 7, and it reads, Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come, but woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. Right? So basically it is a part of Bible prophecy, the scoffers and the scorners, right, in the last days, as it is written, scoffers walking in their own lusts. And that's the book of 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, right? Walking in their own righteousness, walking in their own lusts. And basically these offenses that are being made by these scoffers must needs be, but woe unto you scoffers, right, that the offenses come from, because you have rejected the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the words of the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? I basically scoffed and spoke against it. And once again, basically just that, you scoffed and spoke against it, because it's really something when you realize, it's really something when you see these individuals actually fall out, right? And that is, but really that's the time that we're in, right? When you see Jake, right, when you see these individuals fall out of this truth, even including high-ranking members of various Hebrew Israelite groups or camps, because a lot of Jakes will see what happened with Sicarii and start getting all messed up. See, the Hebrew Israelite doctrine is off. See, now Gorilla Hebrew, because this was one of the because when I first saw that video, my first thought was, this is one of the Israelites that are heavily pushed on the forefront as, oh, this is exactly how and what the so-called, because we are not black Hebrew Israelites, identify with. We are simply the Hebrew Israelites, not so-called black Hebrew Israelites, right? That's what he's saying is basically what the so-called black Hebrew Israelites identify with, or just straight up the Hebrew Israelites, right? even though the bulk of the doctrine that these individuals teach are against the scriptures. Okay, so you have, Gorilla Hebrew, and then you also have Captain Tazariak. Okay, and these are those that you always see, up and down, basically doing all these debates, going on different panels and calling themselves spreading the truth. But then you now have this to come, but then, man, at the end of the day, after all, it's not written who knoweth the way of the spirit, right? So after everything, Sikari comes out with a video, GRLA Hebrew comes out with a video talking about how he's no longer a part of the Hebrew Israelites, he no longer identifies the quote unquote movement, right? Because that shows you the extent of his knowledge, and that shows you how he really felt about this truth. And like I said, man, we are in those times right now, so there is no need to get all messed up over the fact that, oh, GRLA, that's a big Hebrew Israelite guy or a big name within the truth, oh, he bugged out or anything like that, right? There is no need for that, because basically we but basically, as it is written in the prophecies, that we already knew that things like this would happen. And what this is sifting, right? After all, it's not written. Let's get this precept. And the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai will sift the house of Israel as wheat is sifted. And basically, if you go into sifting, just means, sorting. Let's go into that. So, okay, trying to figure out. Uh, Typing it, when the camera is always bent like this is always difficult. Right, so you will see the house of Israel as wheat is sifted, but the least grain will not. Here it is. Okay, this isn't it. That's strange. Oh, here it is. So this is the book of Amos 9 verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a grain, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. Right, and the common theme with these bug outs is that they have no faith in the truth, and they have no faith in the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So when we come out and we say, oh, America, Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed, right? They don't believe that. So it clearly shows you that these individuals, right, their beliefs are based on their beliefs. They were never really aligned with us when it comes to this truth, and it's a damn shame, right? Because you are only really going to see the men of the great millstone speak on this. Don't be surprised if the ISUPK, right, or the IUIC or these other camps, support Gorilla Hebrew, right, Sikari in his new movement, right, rather than show our people, right, and grant our people edification, which in this video the Sikari did, talking about how he's no longer a Hebrew Israelite or anything like that, he failed to do, right? Because once again, the Spirit is not dealing with him. Where was the edification? Where was the teaching? Where was the scriptures? Where was the information that was being brought out in order to better, basically grow the hopeful elect? Lord willing, will be a part of the number in this truth, but you don't see that. Okay, why? Because a lot of these other camps, like the Apostle Sahar said, right, a lot of these other camps are set up, okay, and they are all obviously teaching false doctrine, right? The only place you can get the 100% truth, and that is of course through the spirit and power of the Most High, however Sham Yahushai, is in the Great Millstone, right? So back to what I was saying, okay, right, like the times that we're in, where you have situations like this. We just read that the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is separating our people, the Israelites, right, the Israel of the Most High, right, in order to deliver and beam up the elect of the nation of Israel. Once again, Lord willing, we be a part of that number. All right. And that is what we are doing right now on the earth, while we are going into these scriptures, while we are bringing out these truths. And that is ultimately, right, to make our bodies a living sacrifice for the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai, and also to partake in the resurrection of our Lord Yahushai. But it seems that some of you other camps and some of you leaders out there have simply forgotten the purpose of our ministry, right? So now, to you it's no longer a ministry. To you it's no longer, faith. It's no longer, a way of life, or the culture of our people, right? Because now it's now a movement. That's basically how you feel it is. And what he means by that word movement, right, especially when it comes to organizations, right, and which basically is what we have, because organization anyway. So when it comes to these quote unquote movements, which is what that's exactly which he falsely attributes this ministry as, right? And it shows you that those movements are made, right? Those movements that basically these two wants to compare us to, those are movements, works made by hand and not set up by the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai. Okay, we already know, right, what becomes of this kingdom, and all those different groups that are set up by the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai. Hey, look. But anyway, that's beside the point, right? Let's keep going into this right here, right? When the spirit is removed from a man, right, and also the scoffers when it comes to this truth. All right, so yeah, we're getting into some harsh times. We're getting into closer and closer to the deliverance. So now, hey, let's get this precept real quick. So let's go to this precept. That should be the book of Zephaniah 1. Let's see. I forgot now that our precept is that. Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, no, this isn't it. Zephaniah 1 verse 12. And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and punish the men that are settled on their lees, that say in their hearts, Yahweh will not do good, neither will he do evil. And this wasn't the exact one I was looking for, right? I was going into right, that judgment begins at the house of Israel. Okay, that's what I was looking for. So this is the book of First Peter 4 verse 17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High, however Sham Yahushai. And if it first begin at us, because we are the house of the Most High, however Sham Yahushai, as Israelites. What shall the end be to of them that do not obey, that obey not the gospel of the Most High, however Sham Yahushai, right? So yes, that's the reason why you're seeing brothers out here basically doing videos, right, and putting up videos going into this right here, because this is a cause for celebration, right? Another bug out has done exactly that, bugged out, which means that eventually you're not even going to be hearing from this dude anymore. So the fact that this has happened once again brings us closer and closer, right, to the destruction of this place. That's first and foremost. And secondly, also, it was already ordained and set up by the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? Because brothers, it's been known for a long time that, hey, this dude isn't right, and the things that he is saying, right, the things that he is doing, because the doctrines that he teaches is something that you will never really see, anybody else teach, like how the Apostle Paul or the man of the Lord, right? But of course, you see a similar teaching in the ISUPK with John the Baptist as well. And it just shows you that, hey, the Spirit is not dealing with them to that extent where they can get this information. Okay, so yeah, basically, the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai is bringing judgment upon. Anyway, the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, like I said, what I meant to say is that the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai will bring judgment upon these scoffers, right? And the sifting begins within, or the house of Israel, right? The sifting begins before the judgment, and that's basically what happens, Jake gets sifted out, right? And we know Jake never, you rarely have Jake that will just leave quietly after being sifted out, especially, somebody that's basically wants to become an internet personality. So that's why you're saying, this with that video, you saw that video go up, but that's beside the point. Okay, what we're focusing on right now, is basically edification, right? It's basically going into the scriptures and the word of the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right, like I was saying, what we're going into is not is what are the words of the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and this, like I said, is just part of the course for the times that we're in. Okay, perilous times. So let's get that precept. So this is the book of 2 Timothy 3 verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. For of these sorts are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. Right. And so with that, I'll end the video right there. Once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High. However, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Raka Kwadash, Wa Abad Babal, Shalom. And through the Spirit of Yakim, and you are quite edified. Shalom.